Welcome back to the GSMC Hockey Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. We're going to go right into our third segment of the night talking about the 2024 mock draft. I finally finished 1 through 30 of my personal predictions, and I'm going to share them all with you. But before we get into that, once again, I would love to remind you guys that if you have any questions you would like to ask me and see me read out loud live on air, use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net if you would but without further ado, we're gonna get right into this mock draft. I skipped ahead a little bit, but here's the front screen here. Part 1 of this mock draft, 30 to 21 here. We're gonna get right into this with number 30 here. Ryder Ritchie, I have going to number 30. That would be the New York Rangers. In this mock draft here, I should actually pull up the standings, as I do kind of forget where the teams that I had these going to. Hold on. Bear with me 1 second here while I get this underway here. Yes, so Ryder Ritchie I have going to the New York Rangers. I think this is a great fit here, as Ryder Ritchie is a great winger prospect. He plays in Canada. He plays for the Prince Albert Raiders of the WHL, and he had a fantastic season with them. But most importantly is he does come alive when it comes to playoff hockey and tournament hockey. In the World Junior Classic U18s, he had 8 points in 7 games played for Team Canada U18. Last year, he had 4 goals in 6 games for the U17 Canadian White team. He last year had 55 points in 61 games in his draft minus 1 year. And then in his draft year, he has 14 points in 47 games, 19 goals in the WHL. This, of course, is the league that Connor Bedard just came from, where he kind of lit it up, kind of raised expectations. But for the WHL, what I really look at to see if are you a point per game player, and how do you play in the competitions that have kind of the entirety of the minors or amateur hockey combined here. And in that tournament, the U18 tournament, 8 points in 7 games played for Ryder Ritchie. Very impressive. He is a right winger who has a great shot, but is very great two-way ability, plays a good defensive style of hockey, and his skating is beautiful. In a bunch of other people's rankings, they have him a little bit higher, but I see it very spread out here. In the EliteProspects.com ranking, he's 22nd. In the in Bob McKenzie's ranking, 21, but in Craig Button, it's 32. So kind of all over the place for Ryder Ritchie. I have him in the back half of the first round, slipping a little bit from his projection, but I do think that this will be a fantastic forward. Ryder Ritchie on the right-hand side will be number 30. Going right into number 29, it is Dean Letourneau. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. From the he played in the St. Andrews College. He is a prospect from Canada, from Braeside, Ontario. I got that correct, I hope. He's also kind of all over the place. He is a center prospect, however. So the center prospect going to the Dallas Stars, I think, would be very good for them. They have a lot of young wingers that play off of each other very well. Adding a good center, I think, would be very important for them. And I think this one can be very good here. This year, in the U18 AAA, he absolutely lit it up. But, take with that what you will. He did play 2 games in the USHL for the Sioux Fall Stampede. No goals in 2 games played, -1 rating, but getting acclimated into a USHL, which is a little bit more professional than AAA. Of course it is. But in AAA, absolutely lit it up. 127 points in 56 games played, 61 goals and 66 assists, both a goal and an assist above point per game. Very, very impressive. What he was able to do in AAA, absolutely lighting up. In the playoffs in AAA, he had 8 points in 3 games played. That's ridiculous. This is going to be a good player if he could continue that flow. He is my number 29 player in this mock draft, going to the Dallas Stars here. And then number 28, it is Adam Jiricek, brother of Columbus Blue Jackets prospect David Jiricek. He is currently playing for the Cleveland Monsters of the Blue Jackets AHL system, and now Adam Jiricek has a chance to be drafted here. I have him going 28th to the Calgary Flames via Vancouver Canucks pick. Of course, that was traded to the Calgary Flames in the Elias Lindholm trade, if I'm not mistaken. And who I have going there is Adam Jiricek. Adam Jiricek is above a lot of people's rankings than he is on mine. And I really like Adam Jiricek because his brother David Jiricek is a Blue Jackets prospect. And, of course, I am from Columbus and root for the Blue Jackets. But for Adam Jiricek, he's not been able to get it done in his time in Czechia. He has this entire year, he has 5 points total in 42 professional games played this year. There is a bug on my screen. Sorry, that's why I'm a little distracted. But 5 points in 42 games played on the year. He is a defenseman, but I think it is very. I'm a little bit out on on Adam Jiricek because of that, but a lot of people like him. Consolidated ranking has him at 19. Elite Prospects have him at 28, right where I have him. But Bob McKenzie has him at 14. Craig Button has him at 24. THN has him at 12. Chris Peters has him at 15. So kind of all over the place. NHL Central Scouting has him at number 4 of EU skaters, which is way above where I do have him. So we will see where he goes. But for me, I think he does fall a little bit. I saw him at really the highest on mock drafts around that teens range, kind of 14 through 17. But I have him slipping a little bit, going to the Calgary Flames at 28th because of his kind of lackluster offensive production this year. And I think that will force a lot of GMs to be a little bit scared away from Adam Jiricek. But next, we're going to go for JioSaavn. This is a forward out of, see if I can pronounce this right, Loko Yaroslav. I believe I pronounced that right. It is an MHL team in Russia who he played for in the 2023-2024 season. He had a pretty great season. Of course, this is the tier below the KHL in Russia that you see the professional players playing in. 52 points in 42 games played is very great. One thing that scares me for Jaeger a little bit, 108 penalty minutes in those 42 games played. What are we doing here? I mean, we're just taking penalties for fun at this point. He has a little bit of flair to him, has a little bit of style to him. He is liked a lot by his teammates, but I bet not liked by the rest of the league. 23 points in 19 games of the postseason of the NHL as well is pretty impressive. The center / right wing prospect, I have him more as a right wing prospect. 6'1", 192 pounds, plays good as center, but I do not like his face-off taking ability as much to take him for a center. But for a winger, he can definitely do a job. He's kind of all over the place in scouting as well. Number 44 in consolidated ranking, 63 in elite prospect, 43 in Bob McKenzie, 33 in Craig Button. I do like him a lot more than the next guy because he did play at that MHL level, which is a step below the KHL, which the KHL is one of the best professional hockey leagues in the world. So he does get that. He has that professional experience under his belt more than the next guy. So JioSaavn will be going 27th to the Carolina Hurricanes, who definitely could use some more offensive production because their defense is really great. Next, it will be Leosolid Wallines. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's a Swedish name. They definitely, I definitely could be wrong, but I have him going 26th to the Montreal Canadiens via the Winnipeg Jets pick. This could be very good for the Montreal Canadiens. Getting the Swedish defenseman, a little bit smaller in stature, but their entire team is kind of big a little bit. Juraj Slafkovsky is a bigger player. Dennis Rainbow, however you pronounce the defenseman that they took last year's name. This could add a little bit more to that back end, a little bit smaller in stature, 6 feet. I don't like it as much, 183 pounds, but could be a good left-sided defenseman for them. He has that offensive production in the Sweden U18 International League. He scored 23 points in 28 games played for the Swedish national team. 42 points in 43 games on his club team. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. It's the Lakers. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that first half of that name. But JioSaavn Walinas going to the Montreal Canadiens could help that back defense a lot because they definitely need it. Next, 25, Jet Lushenko is my next prospect to go from the Guelph Storm. This center prospect could be very important for the Ottawa Senators, who would probably like a defenseman at this position, but I don't have that many defensemen that I like taking this high. I didn't think that it was good to take Leo this high, so I went with Jet Lushenko for the Ottawa Senators, as he was a little bit falling off from a lot of people's projections. Craig Button has him at 20. McKean's Hockey has him at 21. Sportsnet has him all the way up to 12. So wide range. This is what this entire draft class can be. It's very wide. But the center prospect at 5'11", 183, he could definitely do a job. In Guelph, in the OHL, he played very well. 74 points in 68 games played. 54 assists is very great too. In the Canada U18 team, he had 7 points in 7 games played. So very impressive what Jet Lushenko was able to do this year and making the most of his draft eligible year. Moving along, it's Tarek Parasik going 24th to the Colorado Avalanche. The right winger from Prince George had 43 goals in 68 games for 105 points in the WHL. Very impressive what he was able to do. 43 goals in 68 games is nothing to scoff at. So Tarek Parasik goes number 24 in this mock draft, going to the Colorado Avalanche. And then next, 23rd, will be Nikita Artamonov, 23rd to the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Nikita Artamonov is the winger prospect from the KHL, and I do love the KHL prospects because it makes it a little bit simpler, because it is very comparative to NHL in scoring. And if you're able to score in the KHL, you will be able to score in the NHL. 23 points in 54 games for Nikita is very impressive. A lot of players find it very hard to score in the KHL, not Nikita. He does get 10 points in 11 playoffs games for an MHL team. I believe he was probably sent down for that playoff run. Scoring 10 points in 11 games there is very impressive for Nikita Artamonov, who is my 23rd prospect going to the Toronto Maple Leafs, who could help out their forward group. 22nd would be Cole Hudson. Cole Hudson going to the Nashville Predators. This defensive prospect would be very great for the Nashville Predators. Left defenseman from the United States developmental program. 51 games this season, scored 15 goals, 36 points, 4 a point per game on the national team development program. It is a little bit easier to score for this national team. However, as a defenseman, getting a point per game is so impressive. So I really like Cole Hudson's game. I have him going 22nd to the Nashville Predators. And then moving on from him, last but surely not least, it's Sasha Boiver. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I've been trying to work on it. Sasha Boiver. I think he is committed to the University of North Dakota, where I bet he will be playing next year. But in the USHL, he scored 68 points. He had 68 points in 61 games played for the Muskegon Lumberjacks. Very impressive, was the assistant captain for that team, which is even more impressive. I think this would be a great get for the Los Angeles Kings, who I have taken him at 21. So that'll wrap it up for my first edition for my 2024 mock draft. The segment went a little bit long, but I love talking about prospects. This is one of my passions in sports analysts and writing, so I talk about it a little bit more than others. So Sasha Boiver is 21. We'll wrap up this segment for the 2024 mock draft part 1. When I come back, we will be talking about Jim Nill and his win for NHL GM of the Year and all the moves that got him to that point.